guys, welcome back to All Things Faith, Love and Purpose. My name is Keoratile Ditsele and this is my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for pressing play and thank you for joining us on yet another episode of Better Together. Today I have my amazing friends Handre and Aliza, who've been together for 2 years and married for 2 months. And funny story, Handre was actually my colleague, and how I met his wife was when she would always come over to the office and surprise him with some coffee, and you know, just seeing them interacting together in person was just amazing, and hearing their love story was something that was very inspiring, and I thought that I had to have them on this channel so that you can also draw inspiration from them. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you will enjoy this video. Mwah.
Hi guys, welcome to our story, and it's great to share it. I'm Handre. I'm 30 years old, and this is my beautiful wife.
I'm Aliza, and I'm 27 years old.
So how we met is actually quite a funny story actually. It's not that we have different versions, but
yes, we have different versions.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. But anyway, so we actually started chatting on social media initially.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Aliza started stalking me on Instagram, and eventually then we actually met at the practice. So I'm a physiotherapist, and she had a few niggles and injuries, and yeah, ended up consulting me and seeing me for help. And yeah. But
the sneaky story behind the story is that I maybe shared a little thumbs up on one of his stories on Instagram and then asked him for advice, and then he said, I can only give you advice if you come see me at the practice. And then after that first initial session, yeah, we just knew the chemistry is intense.
Yeah.
So we met in person at the physio practice.
At the physio practice, and yeah, it was quite clear from the start that there needed to be drawn lines between professionalism and because there was a lot of chemistry from the start there.
A lot.
Yeah.
Okay, you can go first.
First impression about my partner, about my wife. I think a big thing that stood out from the start was her beautiful mouth or laugh. I think that's something that obviously stood out. I mean, let's be honest, you do first see a person with your eyes, so obviously she was the most beautiful woman I've seen. And definitely her laugh and smile stood out a lot. And I think then more from on a different level, I think the depth, just her depth in terms of emotional depth and spiritual depth, there's something that really stood out from the beginning. Yeah.
Sure, that's really deep love. For me, I think Handre had this humility immediately when I met him, and my first impression was, this guy is very humble, and he's also very good looking, but he doesn't wear it with him. He's why are you being like that? You're humble, but you're attractive. That you don't get that always. And also the same thing, as soon as he started speaking, I realized the guy's quite deep and he has a lot of substance. So my first impression was, he's handsome, he's humble, but he's also really deep. I want to get to know this one a little bit better.
Yeah, so good. Okay.
So actually how it ended up being our first date is I took coffee to Handre's practice to say thank you for helping me with my issues, and then he initiated a date. He said, when you're ready, let me know when we can do it over dinner or when I can take you out for coffee. And then we went out.
Yeah, so so we went out to this place in Hazelwood, I think.
Yeah, the club.
Yeah, it's December, so end of the year, and I still had to drive back from Joburg. We were busy working that side, and rushed back to Pretoria for our first date basically at this restaurant. yeah, and we just ended up chatting for hours, like really for very long, and I think we just resonated and really clicked in a very deep way. I think emotionally, spiritually, it was, so that was our first official date. I don't think even, I still remember, I think I ordered a burger, but
we didn't eat
really, like I took like one bite of it and like, because we were just talking the whole time. So that was, it was really special. Yeah, that was the first one.
Yeah, we were actually chatting about this question, and Handre was saying something very significant, but then we were saying like, without God, we would not be together. Like, I think God is everything. It's not just a role. He literally is like the substance of our marriage, even prior our relationship as well. But I don't want to make it too intense, but the role he plays is literally our rock, our little anchor in every little thing for our relationship.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, obviously, like God's love, if you have a revelation of God's love and relationship with him at the end of the day, that enables you to actually love each other, actually, like despite of sin and faults and shortcomings. I think that's the big thing. So I think if God is not the center of that, and you don't have a revelation of his love and walk in his love or like rooted in his love, then I don't think any marriage will struggle to survive without that. So I think at the end of the day, he is the glue that holds people and us together as well. And it's not like we've got like it all figured out, or like, I mean, it's a continuous walk, and actually just like staying in him and staying rooted in him continuously to actually be able to love each other. Because without him, no, it wouldn't work. Like, okay, so I realized from the start that I was really in love from the first moment, I think, actually. I still remember actually at the practice, and I mean, obviously she's coming in for help, so it needs to be professional, obviously, but I remember just having like this nervousness about knowing that I'm going to meet her in person. And I kind of knew from the start, really, to be honest, that I was gonna, or that I would fall or could fall for her. But I think the first solid part where I really knew I was kind of in love with her was actually at our first date. We were walking back to the car, and we were walking like across the road to this parkade, and I remember I kind of made a little stupid joke and kind of looked at each other, and she like laughed, and I don't know, there was just this kind of moment where I'm like, okay, I'm falling in love.
So I don't have that moment. I like grew in love with him, I think. So I feel so selfish now, because he has such a beautiful recollection of the first moment. But I think it was a season for me. It was the beginning of our relationship, and he was so solid, and I just started trusting him so much more. And then there's a stage where you just know that you love him. So mine was a growing into, not a specific moment. Sorry now. Sure. I think both of us knew that we wanted to get married. We were dealing with definitely our person from a very early on stage. We knew that this would be marriage. I remember my mom and my sister came for dinner at my place, and I told them, that was early, like I think in March or April when we met, that I think it's my husband. So I think all the stuff around it was basically dealing with the fact that you already know that he's the person. I don't know how you feel, but I actually knew quite early that I wanted to get married. And when we moved to the logistics of it, it was just when stuff fell into place, I guess. But I knew early that we're going to get married.
I have to agree with that. I think we knew earlier that it was I think the person that we would want to marry. But there was also a lot of things still that we needed to sort out in our own lives, personally. So yeah, we still both had a long way to walk in terms of our own. I was going to say sanctification, obviously in a sense, but like we still had to sort out a lot of baggage and things from the past before I think we really knew we were ready.
Yeah.
And I think you kind of know, or your soul kind of knows, there's still some big rocks to be kind of rolled out of the way before you can get into marriage. So I think we went through a big season of really clearing a lot of those things out of the way and really dealing with a lot of baggage and past hurt and sin and so on. And I think there came a point where you kind of knew, okay, we're now at a good place where we can move forward. Yeah.
Sure. I think there is a lot of challenges. To mark specific ones would probably be the significant, the groundbreaking ones, right? We didn't discuss this before, so gonna wing it, eh?
Yeah, go for it, my love. Go for it.
One big challenge was both of us had a difficult past in its own right. So I think I will only address mine. So I also dated a guy before Handre, and it was a little bit of a bad relationship, and it kind of hurt me in a few ways that I didn't plan. And then I didn't necessarily talk to anyone about the stuff that I went through there. And then when we got together, Handre being my husband, God used him to open that up. And then I had to talk about a lot of stuff I haven't spoken about yet. And that was a big hurdle. I think that was a big one initially for us, to talk about those stuff, the difficult stuff, the stuff that you don't want to hear necessarily and deal with. And so my past is one hurdle.
Yeah, and the same towards my side. I think I kind of grew up in a little bit of a broken home. Basically, my parents got divorced and the whole family kind of fell apart, and that kind of hurt me as a kid, and just developed a lot of hurt, I think, in that sense as well, and also chose a lot of bad stuff growing up. I specifically had a lot of sexual sin in my life that I struggled with for a long time, or a long period. And I think the biggest challenge in our relationship kind of leading up to marriage was to actually face all of those things and actually walk through all of those things in a spiritual sense, actually in repentance, and also in an emotional way. Actually, we both of us actually went through a bit of counseling, kind of leading, even before getting married, to kind of deal with all of those things from the past, to really get to a place where we could really enter marriage in a way that we've really dealt with actually everything coming from the past. Not that it's all fixed always and perfect, but actually just being open and having everything out in the open and uncovered between each other. So I think that was a massive challenge. I think that was the biggest challenge actually for us.
It was a few months, I feel like. It was up and down for quite a while. It was Handre had to talk about stuff that was really traumatic, stuff that he also never ever shared with anyone, and to deal with that, opening it up and also remembering it, and then sharing it with someone. He had to deal with a lot of trauma, and then obviously first time going to a psychologist, uncovering all of those extra stuff, dealing with family drama because of that. So a lot of small hurdles within this big uncovering that we had to go through for 8 months about. We were tired after that, guys. That was a rough 8 months.
And I think the interesting thing is also God uses, in terms of challenges, God uses, I think we can see that He's got a very specific purpose with the both of us, kind of being in each other's lives. So there's things about Ali that challenges me, and vice versa. So I think there's continuous challenges in that, and actually kind of refining each other's character and kind of I think that's the exciting thing about marriage, actually, facing those challenges kind of together, and obviously in a viewpoint that it's there to actually make each other better and stronger, and actually draw each other closer to God. What other challenges?
I would say getting married or planning marriage or moving into that season was also a big challenge, because now you're meshing two lives together, two families together, making a very big choice, or trying to make a very big choice work, and then a lot of stuff comes out. So I think the marriage season was a challenge. Maybe also so like in a spiritual way, if I can go into that a bit, I think it challenges you with this new thought that this person you're choosing for the rest of your life, and can you choose that person for the rest of your life no matter what comes up? And God does bring that to the surface and make you think about that question quite a bit in engagement season. And we really had to face that, I think, in our 6 months of engagement.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's the big ones.
Yeah. Main ones. Okay, so I'll go first on this one.
Okay.
So it's a character trait that I absolutely love and like respect and adore, but it can also like break me a bit. Like, so Ellie's got like the fire. She's she's got an incredible sense of truth, and she's got this fire for truth, if I can say it like that. So she's like a sharpshooter, straight as an arrow. Like, she will tell you exactly what she thinks and how she perceives stuff. So it's a very good quality, an amazing quality that I actually love and adore, but it can sometimes also be intense. but yeah, I love that about her. Yeah, very much.
It's so interesting that he says that, because the quality that I like about him is the fact that he's like calm, collected, humble, soft and gentle, everything that I'm not, you know, and that's like I bring the fire, he brings like the ice type of thing. So yeah, I think his humility, and I will always say that was the first thing that stood out, and it's the stuff that still comes out that I adore, the humility, when you have it. We should have read the questions.
Yeah. Finances, yeah, big one.
Finances are tough, guys. I think ours, it's also tough because we had two different upbringings in a sense, and Handre is a little bit older than I am. I've only been working or not studied for 2 years. He's been doing it for longer. So we have different like thoughts about finances, and I came into it with like this plan of I've always just like saved a lot and made provision a lot, and I've not spent a lot of money and whatever. And Handre is a little bit different. He's a very like enjoy your life and don't take stuff too seriously type of man. And then we had to merge those two thoughts, and it was tough.
Yeah, we're still learning, obviously.
Yeah,
we
that is one current issue.
Yeah, I think it's also interesting. Once again, I think like everything in life, if you've got like if you don't have dealt with stuff from the past that influences the way that you see things and kind of approach things, I think it can always have a negative effect. So I, once again, had my certain viewpoint because of certain ways I've been brought up, and I kind of had the extremes in my like house that I grew up. My dad was quite I'm just gonna say it, he'll understand. He was quite stingy, actually, very stingy with money for a long time. And my mom was to the other side again, where she was much more, not that she was bad with money, but she was kind of spend money more easily. So I was kind of dangling in between there. I was like, I made this one promise that I was not gonna be like my dad. I'm not ever gonna like not give money to someone, or I'll be very generous in that sense. But it's also led to a bit of issues from that side. So I think now coming together is really actually kind of seeing what's your upbringing, what's the stuff that you have brought into marriage, and then kind of sitting together and actually talking about how we're going to approach this together now, and
Yeah.
obviously in a God-honoring way, actually.
Yeah.
So we're still figuring it out, eh? Like 2 months of marriage, so like we're still getting there.
Yeah, we have no answers yet. No
Yeah.
answers.
But we do realize it's obviously a massive part and something that you continuously need to
Yeah.
be talking about and communicating about.
Yeah.
Well,
And it's something that if you ask what role does it play, it's also a big thing that God uses to sanctify you. So it's it's obviously something that God will use to push and press out whatever is not from Him. So I feel like it's really doing its job, which is good.
yeah.
If that's such a nice question, I like
Yeah.
that question so much.
I've got a good answer.
Okay, you can go.
So what do I see for the future?
You think babies, aren't you?
I'm definitely seeing us like on a farm in this like little, not like an Amish community, but like a little, like a little organic community, you know, growing their own vegetables, like living in a beautiful mountainous area.
Nice.
Maybe like Maguba's Kloof, having like the goat or the cow for the milk there, little children running around there, like nice sustainable organic way of living.
Nice stuff.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I did not think that way. I was like, yeah, solid job, kids, not fight a lot, love each other. No, but that's a cool vision. But we both want that. So if we can live somewhere close to nature, close to God's creation, and live off the ground with lots of kids and a goat, I'm all for it. I will be happy with that.
Yeah, I think, yeah, on a serious note, I think obviously we want to see, we obviously see ourselves as a family.
Yeah.
I think if God blesses us with children, that will be amazing. I think both of us want to be parents, have a family. Yeah, I think something that comes up now is just be content with whatever God has for us. I think that's also a big thing at the end of the day, to actually just be content with what God has in store for us.
Sure.
Okay, 3 words how we would describe our marriage. I would definitely go for honest.
Yo, that's good.
As a first one.
Yes.
Fun for sure.
Yeah.
And adventurous. I think that would be my
Your
my
thing.
my 3. Yeah.
Good. Very good. Okay, I'm going to say it. Challenging. Because it is challenging.
Of course, yeah.
Liberating. And I want to say with that, I want to also say free, because you feel so free in marriage. Now marriage, I feel free. Also, you know, I feel like the other part of non-freedom, but you know what, we'll chat about that. And yeah, also a lot of adventure. It's like having that perfect buddy doing stuff with you all the time. Like a little adventure can happen in the sitting room or wherever. So yeah, a lot of adventure.
Okay.
Preparing for marriage, I want to say, like, there's one thing that I wish someone told me, and that is, if you're not sure about the guy, if you have that weird feeling in your stomach, do not date this man. Go away. Wait for your husband.
Little ministry moment there.
But seriously, like, I made that mistake. So you have your gut saying something's off, I'm not completely sure, run away. That's not him. He's not going to feel like that. That's not God's will for you at all. So if you're preparing for a marriage in your mind, waiting for your husband, and it's not feeling like it's your husband, go away from that guy. And then if you've met your husband, if you like me, be patient and try to not sweat the small stuff.
It's a good one.
You can carry on with whatever you think.
Yeah, I think you should spend as much time like as possible to really be intentional with getting to know each other in a deep way, not necessarily like obviously just on an emotional level, how that person thinks, how they just see a lot of things. I think it's important to really be intentional with that you really get to know the person and their thoughts, how they see life, how they see God, how they vision their own life as well.
That's good.
I think we get caught up with the romantic side of things easily, and then we don't really think about the deeper things, I think, initially. So I think for young couples to really make sure that you like really have the same thoughts and kind of same vision for your life. And I think
another thing that now that you've said that comes up is asking hard questions before marriage, and having a person or a couple that's married sit with you and maybe discuss some of those things. Like we actually asked some hard questions, but I think we could have asked harder ones. It's good to ask, how do you envision your finances? How do you envision your kids one day, or a house, or where do you want to live, and stuff like that. Not to ask you when you get married, because it's not. I think it's healthy to do that before.
Yeah, I think also it's important to have like mentors to kind of walk a road with like kind of older couples. I think is important. That can actually impart some wisdom and also challenge you with good and hard questions. And then I think the biggest thing would be like to really make sure that you've got a realistic and true and authentic view of the other person. I think so. Share your story, be 100% honest and vulnerable with everything from who you are, from your past, everything. Because at the end of the day, if that is the person that you're going to get married to, they will love you and accept you no matter what the past is. Or I think that's important. Don't wait till marriage. Like, get all of those things like
get it out. Oh, that's good, Keo.
Yeah, it's a very good
one. That's a good question. I feel like there's so many things.
Yeah, there's so many things. It's like a continuous like learning curve. I think
it feels like it unravels you to your core. Like it shows you exactly who you are.
Yeah.
So like you can go.
I had this conversation with a friend the other day. He says he calls his wife a mirror with an opinion. So I think it's like this. You see yourself so much in marriage. I think.
Yeah, that's great.
So you continuously learn so much about yourself.
Yeah.
Good and bad, obviously. But there's that continuous process of learning and growing. I think just actually in the season leading up to our marriage, we've learned a lot and grown a lot in marriage as well.
I feel like on my side, I want to say that I knew I was an impatient person. I knew I was a very opinionated person, but the extent of that is like visible, because now I see what it does to you. And so I think that you obviously, I want to say, like as a category, the bad stuff, you see the bad stuff, but you also get to know the deeper parts of yourself that you've like not explored ever.
Yeah, I think like it sounds obviously like we're saying a lot of bad stuff like that you see and experience, but I think our viewpoint about marriage has been that it is a vessel that God uses at the end of the day to really sanctify you and bring you closer to Him at the end of the day, to make you holy and not necessarily always happy. So that's our viewpoint of it. I think marriage is this thing that keeps making you more holy. So if you tie God into that, as soon as you see something about yourself or learn something about yourself that's not necessarily God's will or God's way, then you can kind of go back to God's truth and ask what is His will and how should it look actually at the end of the day.
Look, guys, like the biggest thing that I just want to say this now out loud because it's coming to my mind, but the biggest thing is I'm learning now in this 2 months. I mean, this 2 months is such little time. That's so bad. Such little time. Is that if you like all unraveled and you don't know what's going on and you're learning all these new things about yourself, it just pushes you to God. And then when you sit there with Him and you experience Him, it's as if everything just comes back to normal and you're centered again. So I think that the depth of God's purpose in your life and how wonderful He is and His presence is just such a good revelation, a fresh revelation after marriage.
That's good.
Okay guys, if you've made it this far, I just want to say thank you for watching the video. I'm sure you can see why I just had to have the Haze onto my channel. Their love story is very inspiring. They're so authentic and very lovable, and there's so much to learn from their journey. So I just want to take this time and thank them for actually availing themselves. And to be honest, this was actually supposed to be done last year when I first started the Better Together Love series, but everything has its own time, and we just had to learn about the season of engagement, marriage, and I'm sure that you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I'll see you in my next one. Mwah.